What if I told you that you could understand the basic structure of the entire German language by learning just 30 words? I know, it sounds kind of impossible, but in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how it's done.
So, you want to get a real handle on German, right? To go beyond just a list of vocabulary words and actually see how sentences are put together? If that's you, then you are in exactly the right place, because we are about to hand you the master key.
And that key is this number, 30. Yep, that's it. Just 30 super common words that literally form the blueprint for pretty much every German sentence you'll ever come across. This isn't some kind of magic trick, it's just about being really smart with what you decide to learn first.
What we're doing here is applying a really powerful idea called the Pareto principle. You might have heard of it as the 80-20 rule. It basically says you get 80% of your results from just 20% of your effort. And guess what? It works for language too. A tiny handful of words does all the heavy lifting grammatically speaking. And these 30 words, yep, there are 20%.
Okay, first up, let's look at the words that are basically sentence glue. These are the little functional words that hold everything else, all the nouns and the verbs, together so that it all makes sense. Without them, you've just got a random jumble of ideas. So let's start with 5 words that, believe it or not, all mean the. Meet der, die, das, den, and des. These are some of the most common words in the entire language. Now, you might be asking, why so many? Well, they just change their form depending on their job in the sentence. Master these 5 and trust me, you are already miles ahead of the game. Now, right alongside the, we obviously need a or an. In German, that's mainly going to be ein and eine. This is what lets you talk about the car, a specific one, versus a car, any car at all. It's a simple difference, but it's absolutely crucial. And the last part of our sentence glue is the connectors. Words like und for and aber for but are so simple and yet so powerful for linking your ideas together. And then you have a great one like als, which is super versatile. It can mean as, than, or when. This is the stuff that lets you turn basic statements into much more interesting thoughts. Okay, on to our next category. If those first words were the glue, then these next words are the language's GPS. They're the prepositions, and they give your sentences a sense of direction by explaining where things are, where they're going, and how they relate to each other. So this first set of GPS words helps us pin things down to a specific spot. They answer that really simple question, where? And here are the big ones. You've got in for in, auf for on, and on, which can mean at or on. It's a little flexible. Then there's by, which is kind of like at someone's place or with, and we also have im, which is a clever little contraction of in dem, meaning in the. So you're not just in a room, you're in the room. But of course, things don't just sit in one place, do they? They move, and events happen at specific times. This next group of GPS words gives us that sense of movement and timing. Check out how useful these are. Zu means to a person or a place. Von means from. Nach is a cool one. It can mean after in time or to when you're talking about a city or country. And is what you use for telling time, like at 5 o'clock. These little words really give our sentences a sense of motion.
Our last little batch of GPS words is all about relationships. They explain how people or objects are connected to each other or to whatever is happening.
And they really couldn't be simpler or more essential. We've got mit, which means with, and für, which means for. I'm going with you. This is for you. These two little words build purpose and connection right into the sentence, and just like that, our GPS is fully online. All right, we have our glue, and we have our GPS. Now, we need the engine. These are the words that create the action and drive the meaning, the verbs that make the sentence go, and the pronouns that tell us who's in the driver's seat. You know, just like with the articles, it turns out a tiny handful of verbs do most of the work in German. You really don't need to memorize hundreds of them to start building sentences. You just need to know the superstars. And here they are, the big 3. We've got sein, to be, haben, to have, and werden, to become, or how you form the future tense, like will. In fact, one of the most common words in German, ist, which means is, just comes from the verb sein. These 3 are the absolute core of the German language's engine. Now, to complete our engine, we need to know who or what is actually doing the action. So we have for he and es for it. We have sich, which is a pronoun for actions you do to yourself. And of course, you need the off switch,
the power to say no with one simple word, nicht, which means not.
So we've done it. We've assembled the glue, the GPS, and the engine. We have all 30 of our essential pieces. Now let's see how they all snap together to crack the German code and build a real sentence.
Look at this sentence structure right here. He is with the blank in the blank. Every single one of those structural words, ist, mit, den, in, dem, is from our master list. The entire grammatical framework is already built.
And that's really the big takeaway here. Learning these 30 words isn't just about vocabulary. It's about learning the entire skeleton of the German language. Once you know this structure, all you have to do is slot in the nouns you need. You're no longer guessing, you're actually building. It's a total game changer. And that is the real power of this shortcut. You now hold the architectural plans for German sentences. The foundation is laid. The only question left is, what incredible things are you going to build with it?